Live, and I'm here with my guest, Marty Shields, Chief Wealth Advisor of, how do you pronounce it?
Boucher Financial Group.
Boucher Financial Group in Saratoga Springs. Do you have an office somewhere else, or this is where you work?
We do. Well, this is where I work primarily. I live in Greenfield Center. We have an office in Troy on Fifth Ave. That's kind of our main office to the extent that we've been there for 20 years. We've been up here for
because he's from Troy, right?
My colleague Steve Boucher is from
Yes.
Troy, New York. That's right.
Okay.
And so our office is, he says it's at historic downtown Troy. So it's in a brownstone on Fifth Ave, an absolutely amazing building. That's really has a lot of the original woodwork and ceiling and the crystals and everything. So it's a great space.
Cool. And then when did he open the office in Saratoga?
It was probably before I came. So I've been here since 2012. So probably around 2010.
Okay.
So we were in the Granite Palace, and then we moved over to Jeff Files' building above Eddie Bauer. We've been there for probably 8 years now.
Okay, cool. Do you shop at Eddie Bauer a lot?
I do occasionally.
Yeah, like you can't help yourself, right?
Hop down there and get something. Although my favorite place is right by you, Mountain Man.
Mountain Man, yes. Yes, we're right next to Mountain Man, our new space. You just enter in the door to the right of Mountain Man and go in, and yeah, it's really convenient. Right across the street from our old location, so we didn't move far.
That's right. That's right. So this is my first time in Catherine's space, and it's awesome. And in particular, I comment on their bookshelf here.
Yeah,
I love
your own fake bookshelf at your office.
Yeah. No, this is fantastic. So
it's fun to ask, like, have you read any of these books? The Tower of London, the Cat Climbs.
Do you have any?
Pride and Prejudice. I'm sure you had to read that in
I
school.
watched the movie.
I'm sure you had to read it in school.
I'm
Everyone
sure I
has to
have.
read that.
You know, I'm more of a math guy, so.
Right. Okay, let's get to that.
If my wife were here, she'd have a conversation with you and say that she's probably read some of these stuff.
So how long have you been the Chief Wealth Advisor?
So I've been in that role for about 2 years now, but in some respects, myself or my colleague, Brian Boucher, he joined the same time I did about 10 years ago. You know, we've been, at that point, we were beyond Steve, the two main advisors, and then we've just grown over the years. So, and to give you an idea, when I joined back in 2012, we were managing around $150 million for our clients, and we do that as a fiduciary. Now we manage close to $1 billion for our clients.
Wow.
And so we've had tremendous growth, and it's just, Steve started the firm back 32 years ago, and, really he was probably one of the first fiduciaries in the Albany area.
Okay, so, explain what that is and
Sure.
what the difference is with non-fiduciary.
Sure. So fiduciary it's real simple, is that advisor, that firm we have to do what's in our client's best interest. And the way that is defined is we don't sell investments. We don't sell any insurance products. As we're giving our clients advice, just very clearly, there's no fine print. It's just very clearly, if something were to happen, could that be clearly construed as in the client's best advice or best guidance? And so, when you start just removing different conflicts of interest how you get compensated, right? So, we have sometimes as an advisor who sells an annuity or sells investment products or insurance products. The question is their advice for your best interest, or is it because they get compensated a little bit more for investment A or investment B?
Gotcha.
Right? So when you have that conflict of interest, it's not that these are necessarily bad people, but that's human nature, right? Well, it's suitable, but this one actually I get paid more. So I'm gonna probably recommend that one. And again, it's just that clear lens by which we look at everything we talk with our clients, whether it's financial planning or investment management. It's just real simple. And the irony is it's a great business model, right? Because if you're a client of ours and you know that, hey, as I'm recommending this advice, it doesn't impact how we get paid. It's because I think it's best for you. That builds on itself. And then after you're a client of ours for a while, you're like, you know what, I got to refer my mom or my colleague or whoever.
Yeah.
And that's how a lot of our growth occurs.
Yeah. I mean, it's all about relationships and you're, helping people with their money, basically.
Yeah.
So you do like personal financial planning on also?
That's correct. So we manage portfolios for our clients. We use Charles Schwab as a custodian. So our firm is what's called a registered investment advisor. That term, RIA, is something you'll see a lot more of these days. So all that means is we're independently owned. We're not, owned by a large corporation. We make decisions that are in our best interest and our client's best interest. But with an RIA, we use a custodian. And all that is, Charles Schwab is our financial custodian. They hold our clients' assets.
Yeah.
But as much as we're managing portfolios, we're providing a lot of financial planning for our clients. So we use the term personal CFO.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, and what that means is you have a finance-related question, let's talk. And again, a lot of small business owners we're working with, a lot of executives, physicians, family wealth, a lot of different areas where we get involved and provide guidance. And again, it's like, you have a question that's finance, you should be talking to us and getting guidance.
And you should be talking to women, right?
Absolutely.
Because that's who controls the financial, the purse strings at home.
It is. And what's interesting in our field, Catherine, is that women have been not present in the discussion in a lot of ways, both as advisors. I mean, historically known, this has been an old white man's field.
You said it, not me.
Okay, well, it's the truth.
I agree, though.
It's been an old white man to me. 20 years ago, if you went to the conferences, it'd be all old white men. Now I will tell you, we just went to a conference that Schwab had. It's called Schwab Impact. It's their annual conference for RAs like us. It's getting to be a diverse group, and that's great, right? A diversity in a lot of different ways. And in particular, we have, kind of a thought process. It's called Women and Wealth. And along those lines, if you look at we have 18 professionals now, CFPs, CPAs, a lot of what we hire are women. And, probably right now have almost more women advisors than men. And it really is the case that, there's a lot of situations where women are controlling the purse strings. And if you have two guys sitting across the woman who's making decisions, like, this doesn't line up because we have different ways of thinking, right?
Yeah.
So we appreciate, as a male, I have a particular perspective in mansplaining, right?
You just can't help yourself.
You can't help it, right? And women bring something else to the table. So the partnership we have internally is great, but even externally, women tend to have different views on money. It really is the case. And so we have to understand what those views are and communicate in that manner.
Cool. So I guess my next question is, how do we get more women at the table and empowered to talk more finance and talk about, what their future looks like and become more financial independent in the positions on that side, but also in the conversation with their advisors?
Well, first and foremost, it starts with the kids. I know that when the family I grew up in, if you're talking about, even my parents were teachers, there's a lot of discussion on finances. So, if you're a parent, have open and honest conversations with your kids about finances. And I always say, one of the best conversations you can have with your kids is, I know you want to do that, but right now we don't have the budget for that. So if you want to do that, why don't we put away money, to buy something or do something, and then we can do that. And so you want to educate your kids, both boys and girls, about finances and about being financially independent.
Yes.
Right? I think that mentality is changing to the extent that maybe perhaps, you have a young daughter back 50 years ago, you're like, well, you should find a husband. Now it's no. Yeah. You make sure you're financially independent. And, again, through they're young, high school, college, they constantly have to get educated. And as a firm, that's one thing we do with our clients. We say, listen, we'll talk to your kids at any stage of life. We actually have conversations where they're in middle school. Start talking about what the markets are and saving and all those things. So it's all about education.
Yeah.
Right.
So the other question I have for you is, there's a big, I think, stigma with you can't start to invest or plan for the future until you have something to invest. And I like to take the approach like dollar for dollar. If I'm making $1, I'm putting some of it away. So how can we kind of overcome younger people getting more into the investment conversation and getting, just making it almost like a standard operating procedure to be putting away money? Because we don't have pensions anymore. We're coming away from all that.
Yep.
So how do you see that going?
Well, again, it's about education, personal ownership, right? That is, you're responsible for your own retirement. And the way I view it with savings is, if you pay those dollars into yourself, whether it be a Roth or a tax account first, right? And then in some cases, you're paying your taxes after. If it's pre-tax dollars, you're going to pay that money into that account first, then your taxes, and then the rest you spend.
Yeah.
Right. So those are the first dollars that go in. And I know, with our kids, right away, even if they're earning money babysitting or doing lawn work, okay, well, part of that's going to go into, a savings account or, a brokerage account first. Yeah. The rest of it you can spend.
Yeah, room and board, right?
Yeah.
To be compensated for that.
Trust me. Get teenagers, the amount of food they eat.
Yeah. And you have a mixed bag, right? You got girls and boys.
That's right. So we talked about my daughter's coming home from UVM. She's a freshman. My son Hayden is a junior, and they're all at Saratoga High School schools. And then my youngest daughter Tess is a freshman. So,
okay, cool.
Yeah.
Wow. And did your wife just retire?
Well, she's been a stay-at-home mom.
Okay.
She was a school teacher for many years.
She was not paid work.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
That's a sticky topic. You can't call
Stay-at-home
anybody
mom.
stay-at-home mom anymore.
Yeah.
It's unpaid labor.
Yeah, I will tell you that, you know, that we talk, we're fortunate, right? You know, we've made sacrifices. We made this determination when we got married and we started having kids that she was going to stay at home with the kids. And, you know, we definitely made sacrifices when we first were married. And it was worth it for us,
Yeah.
right? So you have to make those own decisions. You know,
You got good kids out of it, right?
we do. Knock on wood, they're still teenagers.
They're still young. I was just telling Marty a story. I don't know if my mom's watching, but I totaled 2 cars before I turned 18 and before I went to college. So, and both my parents worked, so maybe, maybe that was why. I don't know, but I was trouble.
Yeah.
And it doesn't sound like you have kids that are trouble.
And look at you now.
Look at you now. Yeah, it all paid off, I guess.
It does. Yeah.
I think, you know, my parents definitely got a lot more gray hairs.
Yeah,
when
yeah.
I was in those formative years.
Well, I actually, it's interesting because so I'm a wealth advisor, but the rest of my family is in academia. They're elementary school teachers, high school teachers, professors in colleges, and you know, my sister who teaches elementary school always says, "Listen, those kids that are causing trouble, they're going to be superstars when you grow up. They're going to be empowered to do things. They're willing to take risks. They're smart. They're street smart." So, you know, I think that's important, which is that kid that's causing some problems now, they may be, you know, leaving the world or running their own business. So that the skill sets they're getting, those are good things.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree with you more. I think when I became more purposeful, and I can say, like, that really came to me when I became a mom. That's when I, like, I don't know, I just had like an awakening that, like, oh my God, I'm responsible for this other person now.
Yeah.
And you know, that really changed just like my outlook and perspective. And I'm sure, I don't think my parents wished I would have had kids earlier to get there. You know, there was like the trade-off, but you know, becoming a parent really changes your outlook on life and all that stuff. So thank you so much for being here. I know we're both very busy people. I thank you for giving me your time. And what do you want to say?
Yeah, before we leave, I want to say that I appreciate you because you're a very open person. You have open conversations, and I come from an Irish Catholic background. We kind of keep things tight, right?
Oh,
and,
I know. I was brought up in an Italian Catholic household, and yes, same sort of. You know, it's interesting because like my whole family, and extended family, you know, it's like they keep some things quiet, right? But they're very loud and very, you know, opinionated.
Yeah.
But just not about the things that I think are really important. Right?
I agree. That's how we are, you know. And again, as I've grown and have been married coming on 20 years, you learn like, okay, I got to be a better communicator. I got to be a better listener. I got to be a more active listener, and I got to be, you know, communicating what I'm really feeling, right? You know, not just what I think you want to hear, but I think you do a great job of that, and that genuine presentation that you have in your business and on LinkedIn and these other areas. It resonates me. Like I take guidance from that, and you know, I'm in my 50s, but I'm always learning how to be a better business person in person, and you know, I think you're a leader in that.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah. I mean, the older white man just said he's taking guidance from me. I think that's moving forward.
That is a true statement. Yeah, maybe when I had hair, I might not say that, but I'm learning.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Anybody that wants to get in touch with Marty, he is like super fun to talk to, super knowledgeable, and like it's not intimidating to talk to you about money, which I think is another thing that, you know, women have trouble. You know, it's intimidating to talk about money, and if you're not knowledgeable in it, that's intimidating too. But I could come to you and not know a damn thing and still feel really good about the conversation.
Well, I appreciate that.
All right, cool. I'm my own producer here, so I have to press the end. Thanks everyone for tuning in.